You know how we throw around numbers like $1 million net worth as if that automatically means someone is wealthy or rich? I used to think that too. $1 million was the goal. But I want to talk about something I didn't really understand until I actually sat down and looked at my own situation. Because on paper, my net worth looks great. However, in real life, it feels very different. I'm not here to give advice or tell anyone what they should do or shouldn't do. This is just one of those realizations that kind of stops you in your tracks when you finally see it clearly. And it probably should be talked about more often. For me, the moment was when I realized how much of my net worth is actually tied up in my house. And that made me ask a question I hadn't really asked before. What does this number actually mean for day-to-day life? When you hear $1 million net worth, most people picture investment account savings, flexibility, maybe even freedom. But here's the reality for a lot of people, including myself. A big chunk of that number is home equity. And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for it. I love my home. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that equity isn't paying the electric bill, it's not buying me groceries, and it's not showing up every month like a paycheck. It looks impressive on paper, but it's not liquid. And this is where it gets a little uncomfortable to admit because we tend to measure success with one big number. Hit that number and we've hit success. But that number doesn't always reflect how prepared you actually feel. In my case, I realized that if most of my net worth lives inside four walls, accessing it isn't simple. It comes with decisions, trade-offs, and sometimes bad consequences. I think what surprised me most wasn't the math, it was the emotional disconnect because I felt like I should feel more secure, but I didn't. And that was a tough thing to admit, even to myself. It made me realize that financial confidence isn't just about totals, it's about how usable your resources actually are. This isn't about regret, and it's definitely not about judging yourself or judging myself. It's just awareness. And I think a lot of people are quietly sitting in the same place, looking at that big number and wondering why it doesn't feel the way they thought it would. If that's you, you're not alone and you're not doing anything wrong. So when you hear someone say that they have $1 million net worth, just remember there's always a story behind that number. For me, that story includes a house. I'm thankful for that house and a realization that changed how I look at financial security, not with fear, just with honesty. And sometimes that awareness is the most valuable thing of all. Now that I have clarity, I can decide if I want to sell my home and buy something cheaper so that I can invest what's left, or I can decide to stay in the home and if and when I need more income when I'm retired, I could take out a reverse mortgage. Those are two options. Personally, my husband and I have decided to sell and invest what's left. Everybody has to decide what's the best way for themselves to fund their retirement savings late in life. For us, we have decided to sell for a few reasons. Number one, our home is a two-story, and as we are getting older, we need a one-story. Falls happen when you get old, and we definitely don't want to fall down the stairs. Also, upkeep on our home is time-consuming and expensive. We need a home that is low maintenance, so we can enjoy more of our life and less maintenance of a home. We're also wanting to cash out of our home equity that has increased incredibly over 33 years of owning it, and be able to put a large chunk into our retirement investments to help catch up with retirement. We don't want to be house rich and cash poor in retirement. So, can you on paper be a millionaire but still not be able to retire? Absolutely. Net worth is a great tool to see where you are financially speaking with your assets or to see how much debt you actually have. Either way, it's clarity. so that you can make better decisions going forward. But remember, your net worth is not a reflection of your self-worth. We have to plan strategically when we are close to retirement and when we've failed to plan in our younger years. If we don't plan, we are like a ship without a rudder, just floating through life. I'm sure we've all floated through life at points, but now we need a solid direction. I hope this video and my past videos are helping you take a hard look at your financial situation and make the changes now for your future when you want to retire or need to retire. I know this channel is helping me to really be laser focused on this goal of ours. And if there's any young people listening, please don't wait to save for your future retirement. Start now. You don't want to have to come to YouTube when you're almost 60 and try to figure out how you're going to retire. The power of compounding is on your side when you're young, and it really doesn't take much money to save when you're young. But if you wait till you're much older, like myself, you have to invest a lot of money every month to catch up. In fact, if you invest just $27.40 per day in your 20s with an average rate of return of 10% in a high-yield index mutual fund, you would have over $4 million when you are ready to retire. The younger you start, the better. Can you do me a favor? Would you help me push this video out to more people on YouTube that it might help? Also, share the video and like the video. And if you'd like to follow along, please subscribe and turn on that bell notification to be notified every time I post a new video. The goal right now is to post every Tuesday and Friday. Oh, and by the way, are you doing the No Spend January with me? If so, I'd love to hear how you're doing. Have you reduced any of your bills? Have you stopped any subscriptions that are bleeding from your bank account? Has it brought you more clarity? Let me know in the comments. Well, until next time, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.